Hey! Yo, yo, yo! Wow. First time I've ever done this in years. I used to have a Twitch account, but it didn't used to work out, so I had to get a new one, so it doesn't really matter. I'm not going to bother with all that. What I am going to do is I'm going to do something crazy. As today, this is the first time I've done this since I've done this streaming channel. It is my birthday. It is August the 17th. That's right, because I was born in 1983. Today, I am officially 40 years old. It's already 12 o'clock my time. So, yes, we are going to stream some of this Pokemon for you. Let's see how well this goes out. Oh, hey, we can turn on the volume. I forgot all about that. I can do all that, can't we? Yep. Yep. Wow, I previously did that. Actually got thing. See, for those of you who are just now tuning in, this is from a deal I did with YouTube. So, and unfortunately though, I cannot turn down, I mean, I think I can turn the volume on the here, but I don't know if it will affect it or not. Because when I turn the volume off completely on the emulator, it just makes it go faster than it should be. And the thing is, I only like to use it faster when I'm actually using it on battles. So yeah, I grew up on games and stuff. There was quite a lot of games I didn't know existed, nothing like that. This I wouldn't say is one of my favorites now, but I do like playing the game though. It's pretty interesting. So, you know, yeah, I'm actually 40. I don't know if this is the first time you've heard of a 40-year-old. No, just for the record, I just threw on there for now. My username is God King Broly. So yeah, I mean, so if you come across this game, I'm just going to show you the right way to do this if you're doing this as a man. Screw all that baloney hole crap about coming on here as popularity about being a woman. Sorry, but no offense. But, you know, and I mean, I don't mean that against women. I'm just saying, no. Okay? So what you want to do is you want to get to a battle here if you're trying to get, like, the female of the species for the, yeah, you don't want to do this. No. Of Nidoran. You should have already caught a Mankey. I already caught a Mankey Lucky on, so if you missed it, this is a good point. Yeah, you want to catch yourself a Jigglypuff is what you're supposed to do. And you can either wait till you get a, yeah. You can also get a Spearow while you're here, but I went ahead and got me a Spearow anyway. So what you want to do is you want to get a Nidoran male. You want to get around when you get one here and two. Or you can come over here. Screw that whole baloney hole crap of becoming a, you know, female. No offense, but no. So you want to come over here and you want to keep coming into it. Yeah, you get a Nidoran male. Again, no offense to women, but come on, man, really. Then you want to kill around and until you get the female to show up, which is a 1% chance. There's another place I know of that I keep forgetting about, but that's if you want to catch it. So you got to get. I already have one of these. So yeah, you're supposed to capture one of those. I'm not gonna capture it, but I'm just in case. I'm just gonna keep on going until hopefully it shows up. Because just because it's a 1% chance doesn't mean it won't show up again. I just don't know if I can get it to show up again or not, because I've already gotten it. So normally you would just go move on, and I was following this thing back. Unfortunately, I got spoiled on it for the Safari Zone. Safari Zone isn't all that a crack bag chips. You'd actually have to cheat. You know, in other words, use a good money code to actually even get in there. Because, you know, this isn't like most Pokemon games where you actually can, you know, which I have not cheated yet, so. If I do that, I'll do that off screen or whatever, but, you know. For the sake of live streaming, I probably won't cheat, you know. Actually, I shouldn't anyway. But anyway, so yeah, yeah, okay, so you just want to keep on going until you find the female, and then, you know, no, you don't have to be a female to find a female, okay? But I'm a male, and it took me, like, some time to find the female of the Nidoran. And yeah, it varies. Sometimes it can take you an hour, sometimes it can take forever. But if you're, you gotta get it the first time. If it runs away the first time, your game is completely jinxed and it's cursed. Or if you actually couldn't, if you failed, if you actually knocked out the Pokemon completely, you're done. You'll have to start all over from the beginning again and get up to this point. I'm still somewhat in the beginning of this game, and I've already got a playthrough of this. So, but I'm waiting for a controller that's supposed to come in, or not a controller, but a thing I'm supposed to use today. Make this more better for me because I don't like using the keyboard. So let's go ahead and load another game. As good as I can because I'm streaming or whatever, but I hope you guys are doing well. So I'm going to go ahead and use this here. It's not one of my ultimate all-time favorites for Final Fantasy, no. But I do like playing the game. The only thing I don't care for, and a lot of you may hate me for this, but I don't care about the lovey-dovey romance. Sorry, I was never into that kind of stuff. And I really don't mean like I'm really sorry, because I don't care. Personally, this is how I prefer to play a game. I'm here to kick butt and ask names later. Yeah, so. Yeah, it's supposed to be on, supposed to be on. I don't know. I thought this would pick up and show you the joypad and whatnot. Cause yeah, I do have the ability to cheat, but I'm not gonna do it on the live stream. I'm guessing it's against the rules. I don't know if it'll get me banned. I wouldn't show it off unless you can show off certain things, whatever, just because, or after you've beaten the game, maybe. But yeah, also if you get the emulator going nowadays, I've had this kind of problem not before, but not as bad since I've gone on to Windows 10. Back in the day when I had Windows 7, it was, yeah, anyway. You know, I didn't have a problem with the battery this much, and yeah, I didn't have enough problem with emulation. I love both the console and emulation. I will always love both. That's been the thing, because I prefer both because I grew up with console. I didn't grow up with emulation or nothing like that. And when emulation was introduced, even though that technically speaking, emulation has always been a thing in a sense, but it's never been what you can actually, and I'm sure a lot of you already know this, but a lot of you, for you don't know, it's never been always a thing for a lot of you to like me, myself, and everyone else to actually be able to get our hands on it and actually play the game as it is emulated, rather than, you know, and yeah, you know, I don't care what anybody says, they're lying to you if they say it's, you know, it's not legal to download games and stuff like that off the internet. You know, legitimately, as long as you actually own the game, even it says in a simulation, if you actually own the game, it's okay to do that. If you're unable to do the the ISO or whatever from the actual cartridge or whatever. If you can do it off the CD based games for PlayStation, then yeah, you're gonna have to do it that way. But like this, yeah, that's not a problem. You're gonna have to do this anyway because it's more harder than you think. Unless you know how to boot it up from the actual cartridge, you know, it's not going to be possible. I mean, that's even harder than messing with the emulator. And emulators are also for those of us who actually have be able to get into it ourselves. And I'm not talking about like where we mess with it, put all the settings and get it right and everything. That actually is way harder, you know, to go and everything. So, but yeah. It's a hearsay thing, so about whether or not this is legit or not. You know, because people always have to say, well, you know, emulators are not legit. Then they'll say, yeah, they're legit, and whatever. And even though you got to pay for all this, I have paid for it. I can't say I haven't paid for it, but you know, I would be lying if I said I didn't. Because I always do that, and as I go along, because I don't have too much in my library here, also because I don't have a very good space to stay, but I do have a better computer than I had before. This actually runs just about anything I want, but I have to worry about certain limits because of the space I have. So that's one of the reasons I don't have a lot of games on here. You know, I could download them, but you know, I just have to be careful with space. I intend to eventually upgrade this. But I won't be doing it too much to play a lot of new games. I'm not interested in none of that new stuff. I might like get into very seldom new games or like, you know, something that kind of has that kind of classic feel because, yeah, I'm one of them old classic timers, man. If you have a problem with that, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, why have the internet? People can't even play classic games and stuff, you know, or anything they want to. Because, you know, whether you believe me or not doesn't matter, but I will say at the same time, that's enough, Mr. Mouse. I don't like being interrupted. Yeah, we got mice here. Anyway, so moving on. Yeah, I don't have the kind of funds necessary to boot up my computer and have it where all these new games. I mean, I would be interested in them if I could afford to do that, but I ain't rich. And I'm not planning on being rich anytime soon, although that would be nice. But I've always been poor. I didn't choose to be poor, but I didn't choose to be rich either because, well, I didn't have a choice in the matter. They don't make it easy for everybody to be, whether they got a lot of money, be comfortable or be rich. Either way, they just make it where it's like it's hard to do things, especially when you're trying to have a food budget and all that. Actually, it's crazy. I know. I sound nuts. I know a lot of people aren't going to like me, and a lot of people will. And believe it or not, I know, and I'm not going to stop no matter what. The only time the only time I will stop is when I'm not able to do this anymore. When I just can't do voices. You know, that's the thing that makes it more entertaining for me. Even though it may not, you know, unhelpedly, it'll be entertaining. Actually, I do know it's entertaining for people. I do know it's going to be because there's going to be out there people. I've had people say they like my stuff, black people who don't. I mean, I don't know. They might be lying. I don't know. But I know when people are actually enjoying my content. So if you don't like what I have to say, then you can leave. Because I'm going to tell you right now, this content ain't for kids. This is for mature audiences. And we don't have none of that, you know, inappropriate stuff like porn and nudity. Well, that's not going to happen here. Okay, let's get something straight. We don't do that here or anywhere. You know, if it was going to happen, it'd be off books. But even then, you know, I don't participate in such things anyway. So I don't do that, and I'm not going to claim that it's good or bad. But again, I don't do content that's safe for kids. Even though that everyone is welcome to enjoy this and stuff. But you need to be mature and adult enough to be watching my stuff because I could swear, I could not swear. I'm not going to promise you one way or the other. I'm not going to promise you that I'm going to, you know, swear for you or not swear for you because I'm not here to please you. I'm here to please myself. And if that ain't good enough for a good audience, then I don't know what to tell you. So, anyway. Let's move on to the joypad, see what the joypad has. But the joypad should be configured properly. Yeah, LNR are there for LNR, so why aren't they working? Isn't that on? Okay. Oh, because it's not showing in the list. Right. That's why. Okay. So that makes more sense. See, I'm 40 years old, but even then it wouldn't matter anyway. A lot of times we have to kind of figure things out on our own, no matter what age we are. That's one of the things that people fail to realize, that even, you know, and sometimes we forget things, too, you know? Sometimes some things may not make sense to us, or it might in some sort of sense if it's being explained a little bit differently, but, you know, whatever, that's the way it is. I remember when I was going to school, this is many years ago, where somebody actually said that they would actually put it to, like, they didn't say interpret, but that would have been the word for it. Basically, they were going to put it to where they understand it. So, you know, and that basically makes sense, and that drives home today. I forgot all about that, but now that I think about it, yeah. So, and if you're thinking there's no Chocobo Forest, like, you know, because sometimes when you play this game, you may not be able to find it because you're looking all around and you can't find it. I've done that plenty of times and not even think not once that I forgot it was there. You know, and that's something that people fail to realize, that sometimes it don't really matter what age you are, you can easily forget things. Even if you're the smartest person in the world, you can forget things. So, you know, it's not hard to forget, and it's not hard to remember. It just depends on whether or not you can retain retain it in your mind. That's the problem that we face today. Like, where you can retain it, where you can remember all the time, and even then there's no chance that you won't forget in so many years, or whatever it happens to be, that you'll start to have to remember as you go along until you forget again, or whatever, you know. And so bad people remember for the rest of their life until they start forgetting. And there's also people who remember for the rest of their life up until they're gone. So they passed away. Which I don't like either word, but I like passed away better, in a sense, because it's easier for me. So, and window color I don't mess with too much, so, you know, you can do that if you want to. Why is this not... There we go. So this should have actually put this in the B Street. Yeah, there we go. Let's see. Now there's going to be monsters that actually have something on them, and there's going to be some that don't. And it's going to be something that I would not reveal, even if you guys know it, which is no spoilers, because until this is done. I don't know how long I'm going to stream for, but I thought I'd do this because, you know, I don't know if this is going to be good or not, but, you know, this is something that I like to do. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and reset the game. And then one of the problems I was trying to tell you about, like, was the battery issue. There are going to be quite so many problems, a way to solve it. Don't go to MU Paradise, okay? That is a joke. Every time I've tried to use that thing, you're kidding yourself. It don't work. They actually had a file that you could have downloaded, supposedly. I tried clicking on it to see if that would resolve the issue. And I only did it after the fact when I couldn't figure out how to bypass to fix the battery issue when it kept finally coming up, when I finally was able to trigger it. Because when I first got this emulator, I was having problems already. And it didn't happen until I went to the next screen. And so the battery issue I got fixed, finally. And I'm going to tell you, I hate to tell you this, but it doesn't matter whether it's Pokemon or any other game. If you're having a battery issue, it's going to happen with every game. It don't matter, believe it or not. It's a thing that goes on. It has nothing to do with just Pokemon. You have to think about this because, yes, batteries do have to be replaced every now and again. The good thing about emulation is you don't have to do it every now and again. The only time you have to do that is if you have to start over for whatever reason. And I'm going to tell you something about starting over, let me tell you. I have had plenty of computers in my time. I've had to do with the stress of them, and one of the things that you're probably not going to want to hear, this you're probably already not watching as it is, but I will say that when it comes to the best computer I have ever had in my entire life, a lot of computers are coming close, but there's still nothing like it. This computer got banged up pretty bad. Like, in other words, it got hit pretty hard. And it took it like a champ. The sides were bent up a little bit on it, and it just still worked. I'm not going to tell you how it happened. I'm just going to tell you that it happened. And no computer before that or after that has ever had that, where it just wouldn't work. I lost it in a move because in the last place I was at, I had to give it up. And I had another person who had to ask me about it. I'm like, I forgot all about it. And it was called Shark. Nobody sells it no more, so you wouldn't know what the hell I'm talking about. It had a, like, you open the deal and it locks it. I think some of the computers have that kind of deal too, but it wasn't anything like the Shark series. And what made mine good was the part that you could beat it up pretty good and it still functioned. No computer ever had that, period. And it sounds crazy coming from me, but yeah, you could beat it up and it would work fine. I've never heard of anyone afterward that actually did that. So, it didn't slow down, it didn't do nothing, it was still the same. It sometimes lagged, but still, So I'm going to go ahead and reset this game, and this should bring up some stuff here. So, I mean, I'm not going to promise to do a whole thing of one game, because I don't do that stuff. So, and I don't stream for no longer than what I can handle, so I know that's not something a lot of people want to see. But, from what I understand, streaming isn't just about someone playing a game on end for like 3 hours or 24 hours. It's about as long as you want to do. It's just like the same thing about recording. You want to do it for as long as you want to. For as long as you feel like put yourself through it, not just for the audience, but for yourself. Because that's the thing about that. And yeah, it's only showing those two right now because they're the only ones that came up. That's the only ones that we fought so far. But there's also this other game. I actually am. It's one of my favorites. It's probably going to be in the top 5 somewhere in there. because Final Fantasy Mystic Quest is the one I grew up with. Or first game. I played some. Let me start that over. I actually played, believe it or not, some games back in the day with some friends, but I never actually owned anything until I got something gifted to me, and that was my very first Super Nintendo. This is before I even knew what emulation was and anything. I didn't even know that was a thing. And the first two games I got was Final Fantasy Mystic Quest and Zelda Link to the Past. Only two games I had for the longest time. Eventually I had more. One of my favorites was Populous. Y'all wouldn't know anything about that. There was Populous 2, but sadly they didn't have it for the Super Nintendo. There was talks about it, but it never happened. And the first game actually was on that, and I think they had some other ones that were doing it too, but the best one will always be to do that. Monopoly is kind of sort of one of them, but it's not quite all that in the bag of chips. So I'm going to go ahead and put down this game here. I'm going to put down. Go ahead and bring this one up, because this is one of my favorites right here that I like to play. Another one I like to play is called, you know, Final Fantasy VII. Along with, see, the game I didn't even know about Suikoden, and the first copy I ever had was a used copy from a friend. It was to my brother, passed away in 2010, 25 years old. I know it sucks, but anyway, he went off to Job Corps. And, you know, it's not the first time I ever went to. Went for 2 years. I don't know whatever happened after that, but anyway, he gave me my first copy, and I done the dumbest thing you could ever do to it. Which, again, not again, but at the time, I didn't think it was going to be a bad thing until I found out personally by myself. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to buffer the thing. You don't want to buffer it. You want to clean it, which I didn't. You wouldn't think that would be possible, because I didn't hear about that. I mean, I thought that it was a good thing to just kind of make it, because I mean, it wasn't that bad when I first did it, you know. It wasn't so bad until I kept having it buffered out. My mom would take it to work, and a friend of hers that she knew would actually sit there and buffer it, and pretty much eventually it got worse, and then it just became a game that, well, I could no longer play. And I still own the disc, which reminds me I should eventually get a brand new copy of it, but I still have the disc. I never just specified whether or not it still has to be playable. I just said you have to have own disc in order to be, in order to have a game, whether, you know, if you want to record and stream and upload. That's all they specified. And I wanted to go by those rules, no matter what. Still keeping that in mind, so, yeah, I still own it. I just need to get a brand new copy, because I like to have a physical copy. I really do. And that's becoming harder and harder these days, because people just want to download everything rather than just want an actual physical copy and then just download it. Even if you had to pay for it, which, you know, would be fine, you know, it just wouldn't be such a big deal. But they don't want to make that possible, so we have to go to sites that are actually legit, but you have to do it for free. Depends on what you're doing and what you're getting. So right now I only have Final Fantasy VII. I did have Final Fantasy VIII, but I had to reduce it because I was still doing Final Fantasy VII, and the thing I was using was mobile. Mobile is not great for everything, but some things is good on. I can actually use that to cheat on. Not on everything, but still couldn't do that anyway, even if I wanted to. Which should never be, people should not judge people just because they cheat or don't cheat. That's the thing. I don't judge people for cheating or not cheating. I don't really care what people do. But apparently there's rules. So no, I will not be doing it while I'm live streaming. Unfortunately. So I've also got another game I have not opened up for the Game Boy Advance. So that's fun. It's going to be Leaf Green. It's the actual first game I actually played. Fire Red, I never really played before. This one here I did. There's quite a few of them I played. I didn't play Emerald or anything like that. So, and but then there's always, you can't beat Xenos, okay? The thing about Xenos is that it actually functions better than the SNES depending on your system and everything else. The SNES 9X is only there for one purpose only, and that's if you want to implement cheats into Xenos, and that depends on the game. Not all games had the functionality of doing it. The only thing they ever had were cheats for, like, if you want to skip a level, or depending on if they had saves. A lot of them didn't have saves, and that was it. And I don't have the regular Nintendo on this yet, but I might someday. So the thing I want to show you as well is that so I'm going to get rid of this. I always have to remove these because right now I can't afford to upgrade. The good thing about XSplit, which is one of the things I'm using right now, I should tell you about, is that not only can I stream to either the YouTube, Facebook, or that, even though I'm having a couple of difficulties with Facebook right now, it's one of the goodest things about PC. When it came to mobile, it didn't work. So I had to rely on a different program to even do any bit of recording for mobile. So that was the thing about that. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on here. And I always have to do this every time. The thing about this is that even if I do put this in full screen, it'll actually let me do that with this. But as far as Game Boy Advance goes, it never wants to let me do full screen. So I'm going to go ahead and close out this, and I'm going to put bring it up here. I don't have too many games right now. I don't even have some of my favorite games right now. One of them right now, yeah, there's another one right there. ActRaiser is one of my favorites. But again, it wasn't something that I acquired till later on. I even played. That's one of the things about it, is you can actually do that, and it'll do that. That's one of the things about that. So let's go ahead and do this. So I'm doing a bit of a repertoire of stuff here. So the good thing is I can go full screen on this, and it'll still record it. And that's the best thing about this thing. The thing is, especially while I'm recording, and it's good. So. Now the thing about ActRaiser is there is an actual mode that doesn't let you do much of anything. I actually had it, believe it or not, on legit console. The reason why I say legit is because I was able to get it to work, and it had that mode on. I can't tell you what it is because you have to unlock it, unfortunately, by beating the game, which I didn't know that. All I know is that it was there. No, I didn't cheat to get it. No, as far as I know, I'm aware, there's no cheat to unlock it. If I could do it, I would, because it'd just be easy to skip to it. Because I have beat. I don't think I actually fully beat that mode. I don't know. It's been too long since I've even done it. But anyway, now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bring another one of my favorites. This is the one actually I played before that, believe it or not. So there we go. thing about Gradius 3 is you might be thinking, wait a minute, what happened to 1 and 2? Well, I never played those. I did finally get a hold of them, but this is actually the better of them. Now I can tell, even though I've actually, it took me a little bit to get used to it, but it's also better with a controller. I learned that the hard way. Yeah, anyway. So the thing about this is that I haven't been able to play 4 or 5. I didn't even know they existed. But there is 2 and 3 and 4 on PlayStation 2, which I did not know. I thought maybe it would be on PlayStation, but no, apparently not. And the good thing about this game is that you can actually do this certain way. And you don't have to start from the first game like you do in most games. I mean, hell, even Final Fantasy, for that matter, was never one of them that you actually had to start from the very first one. So that was a thing about that. So in case you guys are interested, I don't know if I'm still streaming or not here. Apparently I'm not, so I don't know. Browsing up here. So let's go ahead and see what happens if I do. I don't know if I'm on here or not, so. Well, I don't know. I'm the only one who's viewing. Ain't that simple. Well, let's go ahead and bring up ESPXC. And this is another one that's good about it as well, that I can actually go into full screen and I can actually do this. So I can even play this on the keyboard, but I still prefer, the most part, the joypad. So yeah, for whatever reason, sometimes the thing doesn't want to work. Sometimes they do it smoothly. I don't get it. Don't get it at all. See you. Now, the thing about if you change ISOs instead of actually exiting the actual deal, unlike on console, you would, it would just kind of mix it up for whatever reason. So that would mean you'd have to do this again. So I'm going to go ahead and make this so that Again, I'm not going to do this for very long, so I won't be here for very long at all. Just doing a little bit of a live stream, kind of mixing it up. If I do some more live streaming, it'll be different, something really different. Because this is just me trying to test out the waters here, because I don't do this very often. But because it was my birthday, and I thought, well, hey, why not? Now here's an odd thing about PlayStation that a lot of you may not know if you decide to watch this video or whatever. I don't know if this will save it or not, but I was thinking that if it does actually stream the game, which I'm not sure if it is or not, should be, that there are 2 games here that I'm going to run. So I'm going to go ahead and run ISO here, and I'm going to run Suikoden 2 if I can get it to run. So yeah, see, this kind of got like the logo for and now it actually does some kind of singing kind of music for Suikoden 2. Suikoden 1 didn't actually have any kind of singing, as far as I know. Maybe a little bit later in the game, I'm going to swear that, but without spoiling it. This one here did. And anyway, so the thing about these 2 games is they're my favorites. I mean, I'm not going to say I was too into tune with the rest of the series, based on from what happened with 2 onward. But overall, I like them. They're pretty good. I mean, you know, the music is very awesome for each one of them. They actually have even better, even more smoother singing from 3 onward, as far as I know. Especially Tactics. Now I'm going to say this is going to be crazy, but the saddest one of all when it first started out, it's going to be again, keyword started out, the first one would have been Suikoden. Well, in Suikoden 2 was not as tragic. This is without spoiling it for you, so I'm just saying the word tragic. I'm not trying to tell you who died, who did what. But the most of all controversial, or not controversial, but the most tragic one of all time that came out eventually later on is from 4, but further than that is 5. Because even though 5 kind of starts back its timeline, which I can tell you about that without spoiling the game, actually kind of comes back into the fruition of what, because 4 went backwards. I mean, absolutely backward. I can tell you that without spoiling it. But I can't tell you what evolved around or anything like that. But I know for one thing, it didn't evolve the war that happened that they talked about in Suikoden 1. No. This actually happens long before that. I'll tell you that right there. The war, but yeah, so anyway, the most worst of all would have been 5 because it's just that tragic. And from what I have seen, and but again, starting out would have been 1, and then your most penultimate, it would be actually a kind of sort of a tie. But ranking lowest tragic one would have been 1, or the first one. and then Suikoden 5 being the highest of all the tragedy, because tragicness. And I'm not trying to. If this spoils it at all, then you shouldn't really listen to this, because I'm not gonna tell you who died, who did what, how it happened. I'm just telling you because it's one of the tropes about Suikoden of this is that there is tragedy. So there is always some sort of tragedy in some sort of way, but again, who's got the most tragedy of all time? Starting with who's got the worst when it first came out would have been Suikoden, and then the last one in the series, Suikoden 5. Yep. Tactics kind of had a lot of tragedy in it, but it didn't have not nearly as much. And I played Tactics. I even played 5. I have played each and every one of them. Have I beaten them all? No. As a matter of fact, when I first got 3, I did not officially beat that game. I did beat 4 though, which is kind of frankly weird because I actually beat 1 before I beat 2. And but I beat 4 before I beat 3. I never did beat 5 or Tactics. And I didn't even know about Tigris, but Tigris is on another system altogether. So yeah, there is a Suikoden Tigris. It's kind of much like the Final Fantasy or Suikoden series. And the thing about it as well is that Suikoden is actually based on, like, if you actually love Final Fantasy, you'll love Suikoden. And that was the kind of hype and thing that made Suikoden so much more of a thing. I didn't know that until sometime later on. And I don't remember. I don't know. But I think there was something about a trailer, and then somebody actually said it as well in words. And I was like, yeah, I do. And I wanted to play Suikoden. And it's got something in it that I like, and it's called building. Now, there are different kinds of various ways to build in games. It just depends on how you get there. I can tell you that without spoiling it, but it's like it's a builder type game, but it's also a role-playing game. So, but see, most builder type games are not going to be like that. It depends on what they are. Like I said, I'm not here to play new games, whatever, but I will say this. I'm officially 40 as of today. So if you're tuned in and everything, thank you guys for watching. And, I have been doing this for so many years. I know that I haven't actually been live streaming. I haven't had the channel I've got for many years, but I've had where I've been recording so long. And I did do some streaming here and there, but I quit doing streaming every now and again. Only because there just wasn't enough into it. So, wasn't enough support for streaming. It wasn't just the words that mean anything. And I'm not looking for like someone to actually comment or nothing like that in order to be able to interact with people. Even though that it's nice and all the comment. I'm not saying that they should comment. I'm just saying, like, if I to say anything, it'd just be the idea that it's just not just, in other words, someone says, hey, you should stream, and that I'll support you and all this kind of stuff. It's not just that. It's people viewing it when they're there. It's like much like when it comes to when you record a video, upload it, and then you release it whenever you do. Even if it's not on the same day, whenever they do it, and you have people watching. And that's the thing that's what gets me the most as well. And you gotta have subscribers. But the thing about Twitch, you don't have to have subscribers. But you do have to have followers, I think, before time. So, I don't know what it means by a watermark because there isn't a watermark. I don't know what it's talking about. There is no watermark on this. So, oh hey, it did show that. Cool. I don't know if it actually showed the other one, but either way, yeah, I think it's kind of it's up behind. But either way, I'll see you guys maybe in another live stream later on. But yeah. I will not be watching other streamers. I just won't do. But if you enjoyed that, which I know people will, there will be might be more. Till then, later.